All right. So for my fellow Zoominians, now that we did our first wave of phone calls, I wanted to get some of the feedback from you guys as far as, I guess, I want this to be the beginning portion of it, be a little bit interactive before we dive into the teaching. So when you do a phone jam, what are some things that you guys have a hard time with? I noticed some of the numbers on here were that we talked to a lot of people, but none were scheduled. So let's dive into that a little bit. Adrian, if you wouldn't mind starting us off. You spoke to 7 people and none booked up. Tell us what happened.
Yeah. Typically when I get on the phone and I say, hi, is this blah, 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 they don't even say hi to me. They're just like, who is this? Who is this? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I'll say, oh, this is Adrian. I was able to see, and then they'll interrupt me at the first sentence. They're like, oh, well, who is that? Or like, who sent you? You know what I mean?
Okay.
And stuff like that. That's what happens most literally time that I call someone on the phone. So.
Is this are these like your friends' parents that are reacting this way, mm-hmm. or?
Yeah, these are my friends' parents, and these are people that like I never met their parents before, yeah. But like I know them in school.
Yeah. Okay. Friends' parents, got it. So did they tell their parents and give them a heads up that you'd be calling them?
Yeah. At least they told me they did.
Okay, so were they all friends' parents then?
Yeah, they were all friends' parents.
Got it, okay. Might have maybe caught him at a bad time. I don't know. Usually it's not usually like that.
Well, like 4 of them told me to call him back, and I told them I would, so I'm going to call him back on the next phone call.
Okay, was it just bad timing? Were they like in a rush driving?
One of them sounded like they were in a car, came off like a Bluetooth speaker. Mm-hmm. But the other ones, they just sounded like, if I call them back, they're just gonna hang up.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay, so we'll dive into that here in a little bit, and then Q, how about you?
I made 37 phone calls. I got 2 pickups. That was the one that I booked, okay. And the other one, she's on vacation right now, so I have to call her back on Tuesday afternoon. Yeah.
Cool. Erica.
Hello. I made 28 calls. I like your watch, by the way.
Thanks. Thanks.
I booked up 2 of them, both of them for after we get back from Houston. One person was driving, and the other person couldn't hear me. So I'm going to try again on a different phone.
Okay. Got it. Useful thing that I know that my veterans do is if you guys wanted to download the app called Google Voice, and I would make a note of that. So Google Voice is a app that you can change up your number to a different number. And I used to do that all the time. Back when I first moved out here, we would use a lot of landlines for offices and receptionists and stuff. So we would just call from different numbers all the time. And then the second that we took out the landlines from the offices, we just started doing more Google Voice, swapping phones. So that would also be helpful for you guys that are calling through different lists. So different waves, you can just call different numbers.
You said Google Voice was the name of it?
It's called Google Voice, and it is free. So you're not having to pay for anything. The cool thing about it's an app though. So when you're dialing a number in the app, it like scrambles the number. So you might think that it's dialing a different number, but it's just app. It's not an actual provider. So just be on the lookout for that, because I had one of my guys that was like, every single time I dial the number, it just did a completely different number than I dialed, and it's just because it's an app, not a Verizon or whatever. So just be aware of that when you're dialing, it'll show up as a different number. But you can text off of it, you can call off of it. And it provides a different number when you're making a different wave of phone calls. So, cool. Do you guys have questions, I guess, first off, pertaining to the phones? Anything that you'd want to dive a little bit more into, even you guys here, anything pertaining to the phones?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay.
If one comes up, I will
cool.
tell you.
We'll dive into it a little bit. Okay.
I don't got anything either.
Okay.
Sorry. Cool.
No, you're good.
You eating?
Just a mouthful, it sounds like. Tyra? Any questions on phones?
No.
Perfect.
No.
Or good. Yep. Okay. Sweet. All right. Well, kind of to dive into the next teaching topic, the main teaching topic for tonight before the second wave of calls that we do is on the just the topic of the phones. And as you guys all know, the phones are the work part of our job. And that is where I would encourage you guys to count up the amount of hours that you're putting into your phones because it directly correlates to your paycheck. If you're putting in 5, 10, 15, 20 hours of phone time into your schedule, that means that you're probably doing 10, 15, 20 demos per week, which means that you're probably selling $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
You might be thinking to yourself, that's a lot of phone time. Well, think about every other job, Chipotle, Applebee's, the movie theater. You're working 10, 15, 20 hours part-time, and you're making minimum wage, $12, maybe $13 an hour there. And if you correlate the amount of time that you spend on the phones, it's a direct correlation as to your paycheck. Same thing there. If you're doing X amount of hours at Applebee's, you're guaranteed this much. But if you think about every other job, that's like actual, like, in my experience, like cleaning a toilet, cleaning a grill, dealing with people nonstop that are hangry, like that's work. You're constantly on your feet, running, cleaning tables, you're busting, putting things in the dishwasher, you're cleaning other people's spit, you're cleaning a lot of stuff, right? And that's hard work. Like after those hours, you know, my roommate works at another at a job like that, and she's now officially a cook, but that's hard work. Like she shows up exhausted, right? With us, we make phone calls. Like, is it mentally draining? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's not mentally draining, but if you really come down to like the nitty gritty of it, like it's not really that difficult, especially during a team meeting. You got the entire squad here. We're blasting music. We're giving out high fives. We're hitting gongs. Like the job isn't that difficult if you really come down to like the work aspect of our job, because the demo's fun, right? You get put in front of a Mac client that's married, homeowner over 30. She's buying something because every one of us is incredibly talented and we've got a crazy average order. So I think the biggest thing that I want us to remember sometimes is that, yeah, is it mundane? Is it tedious? Is it just repetitive? Absolutely. But I'm going to challenge us to, especially this week and next week, and as the summer progresses, I want you guys to actually enjoy the phones. Enjoy the work part of our job. Because if you get really good at the phones, doing the demos is easy. There's nothing else that's bad when it comes to the job. Like you're literally getting paid to read a piece of paper and cut up a pineapple at that point, right?
Yeah.
So the word part that we get so mental in, we're like, oh, we have like this negative connotation with the words phones in this business. We're like, oh, the phones, I gotta have no phone jam, right? What if you challenge yourself into thinking, cool, we're about to dive into my ATM machine. This is my ATM machine for the next 3 hours as we're phone jamming. For the next 2 hours that we're phone jamming, this thing is gonna make me so much money. And I get to do it out of an awesome office, surrounded by awesome people, contributing to a big-time goal. Like, what if we changed up our perspective on the phones, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I want us to do. Because I want every single team meeting, every single Rising Star meeting, every single, personal coaching meeting to be excitement pertaining to the phones. Because if we change up our perspective on it, it's the same exact thing as working out. If you view working out as running 4 miles as horrendous, like, oh my gosh, I never want to work out ever again, like you're never going to want to work out, right? Same thing with the phones. If you're always like, oh, it's the phones, you never want to make money, and that's why your paychecks aren't going to be the best, right? So biggest takeaway for the mentality aspect of it is start to view your phone as an ATM machine. Because if you were to make 100 phone calls in 1 week, that's couple phone jams, doing 20, 30, 40 phone calls in a given week, and you're at 10%, that means that from doing 100 phone calls at 10% commission, which is what you're at right now, Tyra, that means that each demo that you booked up and sold on, and you sold $1,000 for that week, and you made $100 commission side of it, that means that each phone call was roughly about $1 per phone call. $1. When you get to Alex Chavez level, when he makes 50% commission, makes $500 from selling $1,000 and making 100 phone calls, that means that each phone call that he made was $5. $5 each phone call. Even the people that didn't pick up, he made $5. I like to think about it like that. I know that my time, when I spend one coaching meeting with one person that I know for a fact is a top-notch person, when I spend an hour with David, and I know that he's about to pop off $2,000 to $3,000, I know that meeting for an hour just gave me $100 in my pocket. That one person coaching meeting for an hour, because my time is worth about $100 an hour. So that's what I view it as. That's what I view the work part of it is as, right? At every other job, if you're guaranteed 1 hour, you're guaranteed that $12 for that 1 hour, right? But here, you're in charge, and you have the capacity of making a lot more money than just that. So that's truly exciting. But when you're diving into a phone jam, think about it from the perspective of you are the CEO of your Cutco business. How would a CEO be treating their phone jam? Would they be treating it as super just nonchalant, not urgent, just doing it while watching Netflix? You know, would you be treating it like that? Or would you be treating it like, cool, how would Alex Chavez knock out this phone jam? How is Alex so successful at phone jams? Why don't I ask Alex Chavez questions on how to get better at the phones? Because he's one of our teammates. If you were to reach out, text him questions, he'll text you back. Right? So view the phone jam from a learning perspective always is my biggest thing. How do the CEOs take their phone jams and run their businesses? So I've got a couple keys to jot down, to a couple key reminders when it comes to phone jamming, and then we'll dive into a couple I have one big secret sauce tip pertaining to helping out with not getting a whole lot of reschedules and cancellations. But the first thing that I want you guys to jot down when it comes to a CEO phone jam, because I always want you guys to be thinking about being an entrepreneur, being a CEO, being in control of your income on a week-to-week basis. The first thing is have a why behind that week. Have a why. If you're just hopping on the phones because it's team meeting phone jam number 1, and Bri just told you to hop on the phones, and you're just like, I don't even know why I'm hopping on the phones, you're not going to want to hop on the phones. I was just talking to David, and we decided that next year in the spring, we're going to be taking a trip to Europe.
You said have a wad?
Have a why. Have a wad of cash next to your phone, and have a why. Like, have a purpose. What is the purpose for that week? But I was talking to David, and we decided that we're going to be going to Europe next year, next spring. And it's going to cost us roughly about $3,000 to take a trip to Europe, him and I, each, right? Plane tickets, everything involved. And we're so excited. We're like, we're going to bust our tails and work crazy this year in particular so we can save up to go on this awesome trip to Europe. That is his why. That is one of our whys. As far as why we're excited to work and why we're excited to hop on the phones. So have a why behind why you're about to hop on the phones. For a lot of us, it's a promotion. Q's less than $300 away from a 6K promotion. Bri is less than $3,000 away from her 10K promo. You are 3 average orders away from your first promotion. Right? There's so many good whys. I mean, we talk about them all the time. The President's Club letter is a why. Being one of the top reps in the office, top 5 is a why. Graduating debt-free. That's a marathon. It's going to take consistent effort to be able to graduate debt-free from college. Q and I broke down the numbers last week, and we figured out the exact number that he's got to ship on a week-to-week or on a year-to-year basis for him to be able to do something like that. Some of us, it's to run a branch location for the company. Be on the fair and show team to work next to the Cutco sales professionals. That's a huge thing. Travel opportunities, cruises, being able to buy a house, being able to be financially independent. Hey, Julie, can you go into my backpack and grab, or my charger is right next to David. Can you grab that real fast? Yeah. The thing's about to die. So have a why behind why you're diving into that phone jam. If it's a really powerful why, you're going to talk to as many people as possible to be able to hit these goals that you're shooting for. All right, so that's the first thing, is always have a why. If you don't have a why, talk to us before the phone jam. Be honest. Like even David last week was like, I don't know why I'm working. I don't know what's exciting. And then we dove into 10 different things as to why it was exciting for him to be a part of that phone jam and to rock hard. But even he needed it, right? So make sure that you guys have a why. Next thing to jot down when you're phone jamming is be properly dressed. Dress for success. Even when you're phone jamming from a Starbucks, like every single time I walk into a Starbucks, people are still dressed up in a suit when they're working. In a suit with a little briefcase. At a Starbucks. If you think about a CEO walking into like a big time firm, his big time firm, her big time firm, they're not dressed up in sweatpants. Dress up. When you look good, like when I dress up and I look good at the gym, I get a good workout. If I look good and I feel good, I'm going to put in the work. Same thing here. When you come into the office, when you're phone jamming from home, when you guys are phone jamming from Starbucks, look good when you're doing it. It helps you out mentally speaking as far as your mentality walking into it, your work mode. Next key when it comes to phone jamming like a CEO is pick a quiet place to phone jam.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a quiet place to phone jam. A place, preferably where there's not a whole lot of distractions, is always good. Pick a good place like that. I know that Blake and I back in the day used to drive 30 minutes to the South Denver office when we first moved out here to Colorado because our office wasn't up and running yet. And so we would drive for the first 4 months of 2014 out 30 minutes every single day, Monday through Friday, to Drew Frank's office just because we needed multiple phones to phone jam from. So he had a lot of phones and a lot of assistants. So we made the drive. Like I think for the first month, all my money went back into gas because I would always drive back, always drive to the office. But then after a while, I started getting more profit. I was patient with it. And then boom, within my first semester, I sold over $10,000. I built it from 2 clients that the company gave me because I didn't have hardly anyone to start off with. The company were like, here's 2 people that need to get their Cutco sharpened. So I was like, cool, let me go see them. And boom, they gave me 5 recommendations each, and then it multiplied from there. But in order for me to get extra phone numbers, I needed to go to the office and be in a good place. Next thing when you're phone jamming is have a schedule, your planner, and your manual. So schedule/planner, and then your manual. So you got to have your essentials. You got to have your schedule, your planner with you always, so you know exactly where your money signs are, when you're working, when you're not working.
Could you repeat that one again, Bri? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
For sure. Have your schedule/planner, and then have your manual with you. So you want to be prepared, right? Whenever I'm doing any aspect of Cutco, whether it's training, I always have my manual with me. When I'm running an interview, I always have my notes. When I'm running a personal coaching meeting, I always have my outline on what I'm going to cover with each of you guys on that personal coaching meeting. So same thing it goes when it comes to you guys doing your phone calls. So have everything laid out, ready to go. If you look at Alex Chavez when he's phone jamming, he's got his planner with him. He's got his leads. He's got his Google spreadsheet with other leads. He's got like his objections, everything out. So be ready, be set up for that, right? Set yourself up in a good area so that we can just jam out. But you want to make sure that you're organized, because people that just dive into the phones with nothing out, I've seen some interesting things happen. But it also, you're able to practice your time management skills at that point too, by having your entire schedule planned out. I know for me, I plan out on a campaign basis. So I plan out 4 months in advance. That took a lot of time for me to get to that level. So back in the day when I was a brand new rep, I used to always do it on a week-to-week kind of basis. But I'm going to challenge you guys to get good at scheduling 2 to 3 weeks out. It's always good to know what's this week and what next week is already looking like in the following week, just so that way you can start creating more of a consistent kind of schedule for yourselves. The more consistent that you are, the more consistent that your schedule is. So plan things out in advance, 2, 3, 4 weeks out. Or just wait until David and I talk to you on a week-to-week basis, and then we'll walk you guys through how to do that. But yeah, be organized when you're doing it. And then next thing when it comes to phone jamming that's super important is commit to the waves. Commit to the waves. I love that our Rising Star team is getting comfortable doing 2 to 3 to 4 phone jam waves in one phone jam. I love that. Especially because I recall a month ago, you guys thought that doing 10 phone calls was a phone jam. So you guys are getting better. Your capacity is expanding already within just 3 to 4 weeks, which is awesome. But get comfortable doing multiple waves. Now, if you guys remember during training, Wes talks about when you do multiple waves, you get a hold of different people, right? So if you were to do 3 phone jams with 2 to 3 waves individually in there, that's a lot of phone calls, and you're going to get a hold of different people at different times. So if you want to jot down some good times to get a hold of people, especially during the summertime, these numbers are always good too. But a good time to get a hold of people is between 8 to 9 o'clock in the mornings. 8 to 9 Monday through Friday is always good. 8 to 9 Monday through Fridays. Lunchtime is also a good time to do a wave. So between 11 to 1 o'clock is lunchtime for a lot of different jobs. And then what I used to do as a rep right after school, I would do 2 to 3 waves between 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock, sometimes people finally get home from work. Sometimes people are barely leaving work. So different kind of groups. Sometimes you'll catch some people at 5 o'clock. Sometimes you won't. You could also do like a 5 to 5:30 wave, a 6 to 6:30 wave, a 7 to 7:30 wave, and an 8 to 8:30 wave to get a hold of multiple people different times. So different waves is so incredibly important. And if you talk to Alex, he'll do 100 phone calls in one sitting just from different waves. So 30 phone calls per wave from 5 until 9, 3 different time slots, and boom, busted out 100 phone calls. So get comfortable making a lot of phone calls. And that's, of course, hard at first, but you want to build up to that. And then next key is track your numbers. Track your numbers. I love that Erica just started this off on our group me. How many people you talk to, or how many phone calls, how many people you talk to, and how many people you schedule. Always do those 3. How many people you call, how many people you actually talk to, who picks up, and then who schedules with you. So when you're tracking these 3 things, it tells you a lot of key things. For one, if you see that within your first 45-minute wave you've only made 5 phone calls, that's a red flag. You're like, oh gosh, I got distracted. Darn Instagram, right? So you keep yourself in check when you're tracking your numbers. When you see that you're talking to a ton of people, that's also a red flag, and you haven't scheduled a whole lot. What I used to do back in the day is the second I would get a hold of 5 people and no one picked up, I'd call my manager, Keena. I'd be like, Keena, help. I just talked to 5 people, and I think I'm doing something wrong. And we'd review the script and review key things that are easy game changers for that phone call, right? So, and we'll talk a couple of these here in a few seconds. So keep up with knowing that if you talk to 2 to 3 people, you should book up at least 1. So if you talk to 7 people, there might be something that we can improve on, or sometimes it just really honestly depends on the people that you're calling, because that's also a factor. But if it's every phone jam, you talk to a lot of people and no one books up, that's an area of opportunity for sure. So we'll always know that based off of tracking your numbers. And then next key, I got two last keys. Next key is keeping it simple. Follow the manual. Follow the manual and handling their objection. Following the manual and handling the customer's objection. So even when I make phone calls, I still have the manual out. Even when I'm reviewing things with someone for the, on the team, I still have the manual out. So you guys should 100% always have the manual out when you're doing it. But one thing that I teach during advanced training too for a lot of us is the second that you offer a choice of 2 times, you immediately want to switch over to page 28, which is the objections page. Because 90% of the time, they're going to hit you with some sort of objection, right? Just like in the demo, 90% of the time, they're going to hit you with a knee-jerk reaction, right? And then 10% of the time, they're going to hit you with a yes. So what I want you guys to get really good at is anticipate that they're going to give you some sort of objection at that point. The second that you say offer a choice of 2 times, flip it, page 28, ready to go. And that way, the second they go, oh, I'm just too busy. Oh, I'm going out of town. Oh, whatever it is, right? That's my customer voice. Whatever the objection is, it's like, oh, cool. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand that you're super, super busy. Hey, I'm super busy too, but I really need to schedule 10 appointments by Monday night, and I can make sure to keep it short. Is that a bad day or just a bad time? Cool. I could actually do also this day, or this day, or this time, or this time. Which one might work for you? Right? But you got to know these, right? And another key thing when it comes to objections, which is the hardest part of the entire phone call, how quickly can you get these memorized? How quickly can you get these memorized? Imagine just having the top 4, the top 5 objections that you get every single phone jam perfectly memorized. You just say quick response. I'm not interested. Oh, Ms. Jones, wait, you're not interested? Oh, like I said, you don't have to buy anything. I get paid just to show it, just like I did with your friend Susie. And I can make sure to keep it short. It really just helped me out with my scholarship opportunity. So would tomorrow at this time or this time maybe work for you? Right? Oh, I already own Cutco. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. How do you like it? Oh, I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, hey, listen, I still get paid just to do the full presentation, and I'd love to get your opinion and your pointer on a couple key things, and I can make sure to keep it short. Would tomorrow at this time or this time be better for you? Right? Like, do you know these super well that they just flow right out of your tongue? Probably not right now, but keep in mind, the more practice that you do, not only that, when it comes to handling objections just prove to the customer that it's actually that important to you. So when you give up after the first objection, it's like, oh, it wasn't that important, I guess. Looks like they got other phone calls to make anyway. That's what they're thinking. But when you go, oh, you're super busy. Oh my gosh, yep, Mrs. Jones, I'm super busy too, but I really, really want to graduate debt-free, and it comes down to the scholarship opportunity, I could super make sure to keep it short, right? Like, how intense are you in handling objections? Right? That's what you want to start thinking about. And that's the easiest thing. You got to just study it, review it a couple times before you hop on the phones, and then it's super easy to kind of handle. So yeah, so automatically assume that they're going to give you some sort of objection, and make sure that you handle that. Can I give you guys a quick tip on how to eliminate a few more objections?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when it comes to objections, in my experience of making phone calls, I've found that the customers that are not yes leads give me the most objections. Have you guys experienced that too?
Yes, yeah.
So, with that being said, what I'm going to challenge us to get really good at, because it makes our phone time a heck of a lot easier, is let's get really good at mastering sending out that yes text to the customers on every single demo. Because in my experience, if I were to do 5 phone calls to 5 people that have a heads up that I'll be calling them, I usually book up 1 to 2, maybe even 3 of those 5 yes leads, versus calling through an entire list of 10 people that have no heads up that I'm calling them. I usually book up maybe 1 out of those 10. But just that small area of opportunity in the business, which is just to have the customer right in front of you, say, hey, Mr. Jones, really important for my job, for my work. Can you send out this quick yes text? Just forward it to all your friends and family. It gives them a heads up that I'll be calling them. And that way, if there's any questions, they could always contact you too about me. Can you do that really fast as I'm cleaning up? Right? And then she cleans up. She sends it out. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone gets it. And then as you're heading out of the door, this has happened to me too. As I'm walking out, you hear her phone ringing, or text messages are coming in, and then you go, "Oh, Mrs. Jones, who's that?" And then she goes, "Oh yeah, Ryan's waiting to hear from you. Oh yeah, Susie said it was totally fine. Oh, looks like my friend also has Cutco too, right?" And then in your car, boom, I got to call those 3 people immediately because they're expecting my call. And then that's how you book up 2 to 3 demos ahead after that 1 demo.
So what happens if they say that they will, but they don't? Are we supposed to have them do it in front of us, or?
Great question. And honestly, this took me a long time. I was at $60,000 or maybe $70,000 in sales until I really got good at this program. Yeah, to answer your question, yes. You want them while they're still in front of you to send out that text message and just blame it on, hey, Mrs. Jones, you seem like you're super busy anyway, and I'm super busy too, so let's just knock it out real fast just because my last customer forgot because she got super busy, and then all her friends didn't get a heads up that I was going to give them a call, and they were all at first weirded out because they had no idea who I was. So that third-party story, you can totally incorporate.
Okay, cool.
Totally. Yeah, and keep in mind, it takes 2 seconds, so when you're getting recommendations, make sure that you still have it a bit of a mess. Take your time. Go to the bathroom. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I really got to use the restroom. Can I use the restroom? Use the restroom. Take your time. Start washing your dishes in the sink. Boom, boom, boom. She's still writing things down, right? And then the second that she writes it down and the second that you see that she's pretty much done, qualify. So ask the main questions of, hey, Mrs. Jones, how do you know these people? What's their spouse's name? What do they, ask questions to get to know them a little bit. And then the last thing on that recommendation page is it's a lot easier for me to contact people that know I'll be calling them. So what I have all my customers do is send out that text message.
So,
boom. Go ahead.
It mainly just comes down to us individually as memorizing the whole last part of the recommendation part and the ending part as well as we can, basically.
Honestly, yes, because that last part comes down to confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, closing comes down to confidence. So Alex Chavez will tell you when you're asking for the order to have that memorized. So you just say with total confidence. The phone script, pretty much having those objections memorized as much as possible. And then page 16, that's the 1 page. And even 17 with the recommendation concerns, 100% get those memorized.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, great question. Because honestly, it comes down to if she has that yes text. I've had customers that give me 3 to 5 recommendations, 2 recommendations, but they're all yes leads, and I'm still able to book up at least 1 or 2 or 3 ahead of me after that I just completed that demo. And that's just hours and hours that you don't have to worry about, doing so many phone calls because they already all have a heads up at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So that's an area that you definitely want to get really good at and just practice it. So by the time summertime hits, you're a pro at the yes program, and you just, it's a positive thing.
Right. It just flows.
Yeah, totally. So that's why I will say when it comes to objections, I get the most objections from people that are super busy or all this going on in their lives from people that don't have that yes text. So if you're experiencing the same thing of just everyone's giving you a ton of objections, all this stuff, it's probably because they have no heads up or recollection that you were going to call them, and it's just not that important. But the second that they get that text, they're like, oh, well, I got to do my friend. I got to help her out since she helped out this person, so I'm going to help out this person too. It just makes it a lot easier to get a hold of them.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've been doing is I've been reading page 16, and then I've been going over the recommendations a lot lately because I feel like that's one of the parts that I struggle on getting new calls and stuff like that and people to call.
Yeah.
So I've been reading into that. So.
Yeah. No, for sure. And you're still super new. Keep that in mind. So as long as you keep practicing it, just like we talked about before, preparation is key to get to the destination. So prepping that repetitively. There's a lot of Vector Connect audios and videos on Vector Connect that you can check out too, and it will give you some more tips as well. So that was the last key, is follow the manual, and then objections, handle those properly. But the last thing that I want to end on is firming up the appointments. That is just so important, and I've seen this happen so many times with new people. Their first time is that they get through the script 75%, and then they just go, all right, sounds good, I'll see you tomorrow at this time, and then they forget to have them write it down into their schedule, and then they show up and they're not there, and it's so sad. So I know. Yes, just give me lobbing it over to you. So firming up the appointment is my last key. Firming up the appointment. And it comes down to 5 key things when we're firming up the appointment. It comes down to building urgency, building up urgency so she understands how important the appointment is to you. So we build urgency. My manager taught me this key thing, which is the PP voice. Got to use your PP voice. So if you're going on a road trip with your buddies and you got to pee, do you just go, hey, David, got to pee, pull over, please? Or are you like, yo, oh my God, I am dying back here. I will literally pee all over your car if you don't pull over right now. One has a little bit more urgency than the other. A little more tone into it, right? So that's what it comes down to. You gotta, when you're on the phone, I used to like walk around as I was making phone calls. I gotta always walk around. Hey, Mrs. Jones, how's it going? Hey, I really, really need to hit this goal. Oh my gosh, it's the most important thing. I'm like 1 away from my goal. You have no idea how much this would mean to me. So can you see me this time or this time? Right? You gotta be like up and at them, because if they're feeling the urgency over the phone, they're gonna be like, oh crap, I gotta help this person out. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, right? So how urgent do you sound on the phone? Is it super like, yeah, you know, gotta do 10 appointments this week, and was wondering if I can swing over tomorrow or this time, right? She's like, how about no, right? But if you're like urgent, like it's important, scholarships on the line, contests on the line, she'll see it. So urgency is a big thing. The second thing is, of course, the penny. Are we being detailed about making sure she tapes the shiny penny to the fridge? Hey, Miss Jones, can you please tape a shiny penny to your fridge? I'll show you a really, really cool magic trick when I get there. Right? If she's like, oh, I don't want anything on my stainless steel fridge, because that's happened to me before. Okay, Miss Jones, can you tape it to your counter? Can you just tape it to your microwave? We all have those people. They're just like real bougie. I can't put anything on my $4,000 fridge. Bougie. Okay. All right. Whoop. So penny is a big one. Next one is what is your signature? Ooh, what does that even mean, Bri? I'm glad you guys asked. So when I'm having Mrs. Jones jot down my name, I always say, Mrs. Jones, go and jot down my name again. It's Bri, B-R-I. And can you go ahead and draw a smiley face next to my name with a ponytail on it and some goofy glasses, just so you know what I look like when I get there. And I had this one guy, his name is Todd Straw from back in LA, who would always say, Mrs. Jones, draw a big smiley face next to my name with 2 bulging arms coming out of the smiley face. I work out, so you'll recognize me when I get there. She opens up the door to Todd. She goes, oh, I think I made the arms a little too big.
Long.
Instant rapport, right? Instant rapport. They were laughing. It was just this thing. So what is your signature that you're going to start doing to make Mrs. Jones laugh over the phone, right? Find something cool, something unique, so that way the call is memorable. So what is your signature thing on every single phone call? I know that, gosh, what was another funny one? So I had a rep, or my old division manager in LA. He would go, hey, Miss Jones, all right, go ahead and jot down my name. So it's David Madrid. So you can spell it. It's B-R-A-D and then space P-I-T-T, just because I look like the Mexican Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Yes.
Yo, can you find something corny like that? Right?
Set the tree on fire.
Yeah, do something cool like that, right? So find your signature. That's a little thing to add. Keep in mind, if you sense over the phone that Mrs. Jones is one of those just walls, just straight to the point, maybe cut back on the funny stuff over the phone just because some people are just like, what are you saying right now? But if it's like the bubbly mom that's super cool and super, rapport is there from the phone call, definitely incorporate some funny signatures so it sticks in your brain. And then last two things on firming up the appointment is get some directions. Get some directions. Again, it's not for you. It's because the longer that you stay on the phone with someone, the harder it is to forget about an appointment, right? So these are all small little details that will help you guys not get forgotten about or rescheduled on because she sees how important it is. So these are what top CSPs use, right? So get directions. Hey, Mrs. Jones, how do you get to your house? What's your address again? 1234 Cutco Lane. Okay, sweet. And cool. So I'm going to make down Wadsworth, right on Hamden, right on Sheridan. Okay, sweet, sweet, sweet. And then did you say a right or a left? Right? Okay, awesome. And then what color is your house? Purple. Okay. And sweet. Okay, awesome. Can you also 2 minutes before the appointment, can you light your trash cans on fire just so I know where to look when I'm on the street because I get lost pretty easily.
Well, it's my go-to right there.
Yeah, light your trash cans, light the tree on fire.
They get really good with smoke signals and stuff.
Yeah, so if you make her laugh, guys, she's not going to forget about the appointment. She's going to look forward to meeting you because you're personable. So get directions. And then last but not least, you're going to want to thank her sincerely. Thank her sincerely. Are you just doing a simple, all right, sounds good, see you tomorrow, see you Saturday? Or are you making her feel like a rock star? Are you saying, David, David, I know meeting with a college student on a Saturday morning probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but it means the world to me. I just want to first off just say thank you for helping me with my scholarship raise. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you Saturday morning. That's hard to be like, hey, David, sorry, I know that this scholarship is important to you, but I have to go walk my dog, so I have to reschedule. You're not going to get those cancellations and reschedules last minute because she knows how important it is because you thanked her so sincerely. Right? So you want to thank her, make her feel good. After she gets off the phone, she should be like, honey, I'm about to change a kid's life on Saturday because of my presence for 45 minutes, right? She should feel good and look forward to seeing you just by thanking her sincerely. So when you're looking back at every single phone call that you're making, especially the last couple weeks, are you doing all this stuff to make sure that the appointment goes through? It's the extra 30 seconds on the phone that really makes that difference. So I want to make sure that our team is doing this stuff because honestly, if you incorporate this, it'll be very, very difficult for you guys to get rescheduled, canceled on, or forgotten about. But I want to leave you guys with a secret sauce tip. Can I leave you guys with a secret sauce tip?
Yeah.
Erica, can I leave you with a secret sauce tip?
Yes.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So this is I'm so excited to teach you this key line. Some of us have heard it, I think, but some of us have not. So this is my secret sauce key line that I want you guys to start using. And I'm going to post this in the group me in case your fingers just go crazy just trying to write it down. All right?
Okay.
I'm going to post this. All right? So this is the key line. And I end every single demo phone call with this line. Beautiful line. All right? So I go, Mrs. Jones. So this is right after she wrote it down into her schedule, right? Oh, Mrs. Jones, can you take out a pen and paper or planner? Go ahead and jot down that my name is blah, 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 right? After she writes it down, as she's writing it, writing everything in there, I go, Mrs. Jones, the reason why I'm asking you to write this down is because just a couple days ago, or just last week, I drove all the way down to Pueblo for a demo, and she totally forgot about me. It was so, I got there and knocked on her door, spaced. She was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that the kids were at practice and I had to go, and she forgot about me. And I was so sad. But here's the thing, I know you'd never forget about me because you know how important this is to me. So I just wanted in advance to just say thank you for helping me out with this contest, with this scholarship race, because I really do appreciate that.
Geez, that is a lot to write down. Okay.
That is why I'm going to put it on the group name.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
I'm putting on the group me, but I end every single phone call with that line, because now what does that tell? And I have customers that right as I get there, I'm like, Bri, I didn't forget about you, like that one lady. And I'm like, I know you didn't, that's why I appreciate it. But now she doesn't want to be that lady that forgot about you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now it's like, okay, it's really, really important. Cannot forget about Q. Cannot forget about Adrian. They're coming over, writing it down, setting a reminder. Like, they're really, believe it or not, anal about doing that at that point. And that's how, honestly, whenever I use this line, like, it drops my reschedules to less than 90%, 95%, just because they honestly see how important the appointment is to me. So, was I good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so make sure they use it. So get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with that line so it flows right off the tongue, but just adding that in there builds a ton of urgency, and she's not going to want to be that lady that forgets about you. And again, I will post it in the group me because I know it's a long, long line, but you want to just emphasize it, right? Because the phone call is all tonality. I mean, communication as a whole, like I've talked about before, 93% of it is body language and tonality. 7% is the words itself. So if you really incorporate these small little things into your phone calls, it does make a difference. All right, so that's what I've got for you guys. We're going to dive into our last phone jam of the night, and let's make the most out of it, because I know that we've got a lot of openings for this week, and I want to make sure that we are filling them up to a T so we can hit some goals, hit some promotions. And I want to give a lot of promotions out when I get back from Houston, for sure. So let's make sure that we're phone jamming hard. And just like we did before, post on the group me all the updates so we can keep up with you guys. And I'm hitting, every single time you guys book up a demo, I'm going to hit it here at the office so it blesses your appointment.
Okay.
All right. All right, cool. So I will talk to you guys here soon. And let's get this party going.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Wait, Bri.
Yo.
You like glitched out at the end. What happened?
I said, tell your mom I love her. Ho!
Oh, hell no. hang up the call. Out.
I said, hey, I'm weird in a good way. I said, we're about to dive into a phone jam, so let's keep posting in the group me every demo that you book up, and then I'm going to hit the gong for you.
All right.
All right. Much love.
Ah.
Yeah, I love them so much.